This opening has a 69% win rate for white after move 7. It's called the Evans Gambit. The Evans Gambit is basically a variation of the Italian. Whenever we get knight c6 and bishop c4, the most played move I've ever seen is usually bishop c5. In this position, we end up playing b4. This is a sacrifice we're trying to take because we want to end up trying to get tempo on this bishop, and we want to end up opening this diagonal for our queen in case we want to attack that f7 pawn. So once he takes, we play c3, and there's a few different moves that he can have. He has bishop a5, bishop c5, and bishop e7. These are the three moves I typically see. But in this video, we're going to go over bishop c5. And in this position, I usually would play d4. That's the best move that you could play because we can attack the bishop at the same time as attacking the other pawn. We kind of want to provoke him into taking our pawn. Most of the time, you'll see them take right on d4. And in this position, we're going to want to castle. So when we castle, we're basically just deciding on trying to attack the e file with our rook. And at the same time, if we take, we don't want him to come back and put us in check with tempo. We just want to keep developing and keep everything going. That's kind of the point of this gambit. We want to get as much development in ahead as much as possible. So if he ends up getting greedy and taking on c3 because he's like, free pawn, then we actually have a beautiful sacrifice coming right here. We'll put the king in check. He can't take with any other piece beside the king. So when he takes right here, we actually have queen to d5, attacking the king and at the same time attacking the bishop. That's why we have that bishop sacrifice. So if he goes to king f8, we actually can take the bishop. That was kind of the point, and attack the king at the same time with tempo. So if he goes to d6, we can then take on c3. And this is just an awkward position for black to be in. And I wouldn't want to play black in this position. He's not completely lost, but it's very hard to defend against this. And if he ends up going here instead, we actually have bishop g5 threatening his queen because he put it on the same diagonal. I'm not saying this is definitely going to happen in your game, but it's definitely a possibility, especially at the beginner and intermediate levels. So he has to come right here to defend and block. We can actually push this and try and win a piece straight up to get our piece back. And this is still under attack too. We have a lot going on here. It's very uncomfortable. There's no way he's going to be able to defend very well. It's going to be e takes right here, g takes. And then we have queen c5 with check. I know our bishop is undefended, but we are going to be able to put a lot of pressure on this king. It does not matter if he ends up going here because then we're just going to have queen e3 check, and then we can move our bishop out of the way. This is very uncomfortable. This is definitely close to a GG's for black. And that is part 1 on how to play the Evans Gambit.